Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're in part 3 with the incredible Tej Singhs, and we are now going to be talking about alternative investments, the entrepreneur mindset. We're going to be talking about a few other things that Tej has going on, social media, and just a few other interesting topics. So, Tej, I want to start with branding because this is something you joined me on my roundtable. It plays into property that you can really get your message out there, what you're doing, and expand. So, obviously, let's just talk about the obvious. The brand, Tej Talks. If you're in property and you're on Instagram, you must have seen Tej at some point, the bright yellow. So
quite subtle colour, so I don't know if they would have noticed. So
where did it come about? Because it's ended up playing so well.
Yeah, so in my recruitment business, you probably have seen a lot of recruiters just do the same thing, bash the phones, they say the same. It's just so boring and repetitive. And I just thought, hold on a minute. I'm on LinkedIn, that's where recruiters trowel, or they prowl, and I thought, wait a minute, surely I can sort of identify myself differently. Surely I can do something like posting content, and I sort of followed a few people, no one famous or anything, maybe Gary Vee, quite famous, who were talking about brand, and I thought, let's do it. So I set one up, sort of, only for like a couple of months before I left the business, and it worked. It worked really well, and I could see that if I'd carried it on, it would have done really well. So I got into property, and I won this ticket to some education years ago, and it was okay. It was lacking. You can tell by my voice it was all right. And I thought, let me set up something, the podcast, that will give people for free almost kind of what people are paying for. So the conversations with people like us, and amazing people doing all sorts of stuff. And then, of course, with the podcast had to come a brand, because podcasting is so one way. There's no comments, likes.
Yeah.
It's not really a social media. So it basically grew from the podcast and having, okay, come to me, but then go listen to me. And I think also, I didn't really think it would get me discounts on everything. I didn't really think it would get me investors. I kind of just did it to make my life easier. Because, you go to a networking event, you kind of speak to people. Oh, hey, what do you do? Who are you? And I think I just couldn't be bothered to explain myself.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's just make a brand and save myself 3 minutes every networking event. And then it sort of grew, and then it got me investors, and it got me this, and it got me that. And it kind of happened quite organically from something that was just meant to be a sort of efficiency piece.
Do you think branding as well? Because obviously it's like I say, when I see that Tej Talks, you almost just know what you're about, and that's the key thing about brand. Is if you get your branding and your marketing right, everyone just knows what you do, and there's that element of trust and comfort, comfort with somebody who's got a very good brand. And something that you've built, obviously you see investors through. So one thing I think people struggle with, certainly conversations, is sticking with putting out content. It's that rock and a hard place. If you're not on social media and you're not talking about what you're doing, you're kind of under a rock. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
So how does someone perhaps start building their brand if they want to draw in investors, draw more attention, scale their business? What maybe 3 tips would you have for branding on social media?
I think I suppose the first thing is, don't set out with the aim of doing that, but kind of have it in the back of your mind. So everything you're posting isn't, hey, I look for investors, hey, I do investors.
Yeah.
It's giving value of some type, because you'll get value back of some type. That's the first thing. It's like people say, oh, don't be in a business for money. Be in it because you love it, or you love the process. Same sort of thing. The second one is, it is, I don't know if it's a tip, but it's tough because it can be quite thankless, right? Like, you put out all this content for free. People don't always pay for stuff when there is a paid opportunity. You put this content out, and you are helping hundreds, thousands of people, but 10% will actually say, hey Tej, thanks so much for doing this, it's really helpful. So it can feel a bit like you're lacking gratitude. So I think if you're going to do it, be prepared for that, because it can kind of affect you, because you're like, what, I'm doing all this stuff, and 10 people have said thanks. Like, what's the bloody point? I see 1,000 of you listening to it. What are the rest of you? So that's the second thing. The third thing is, schedule what I call brand time. So 30 minutes a day where you're doing like 5 minutes of creation. So there's 5 minutes of planning, sorry. So right, we're going to talk about 3 ways to raise finance, 5 things that went wrong on my refurb, 10 mindset tips. Then kind of the actual creation of it. So whether you're filming it, writing it, audio recording it, and then give it to a VA, outsource the hell out of it, because You know, one video clip of 10 minutes could be a blog. It could be 10 Instagram clips, 5 LinkedIn clips, one 10-minute video. It could be a 10-minute podcast.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted just talking about that. I have
Yeah.
not got time to do that. And if people are not that passionate about social media, it's going to sit on your SD card in your camera for months. Oh, that's nice footage I had 3 years ago. So schedule time for it and value it as a vertical in your business. Just like when your accountant says, can you send me your books?
Yeah.
You bloody do it.
Yeah.
When HMRC says you owe us something, you bloody pay it. You know, branding is a vertical of your business, so respect it like that.
I think also with branding and the whole social media, if you're looking to eventually monetize, whether that's through your business that you're building online, if monetization is the end result at some point, you have to go through this process of giving value for free. If the result is monetization, you have to also bear in mind you've got to be likable. You've got to be broad in what you post, because one thing that I found is if you're too narrow and you're too sort of within your own bubble, you're not going to be able to reach out to all these people. Because let's keep this on the topic of raising investment. Your investor might not have the same views as you, but but raising the investment should be about the business, not about your views about whether it's religion, background, whatever it is. They should be completely separate. So I would say go into social media and branding with an open mind that it's a business setup. So like you say, giving value, perhaps using stories and those live sort of bits of content to show the real you. But I see my branding and social media more as a business, not as a this is what I had for dinner last night. Although I occasionally do that.
Yeah,
on my stories.
I think there's 3 ways. There's the pure business, the pure personal, and somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think it's up to people to where they put it. So yours is probably more towards the business from from looking at it. Mine is probably more towards the personal from what I think about it. So, yes, if you post your kind of your political, your socio-economic, whatever views, it's absolutely going to put some people off.
Yeah.
But it's also going to bring other people to you. At the same time, if you're only pure business, you're going to put some people off, but you're going to bring other people to you. So basically, wherever you are on the spectrum, you're winning. But it's just how much you want to share with it. And if people follow us both, you'll see the differences in how we are.
It's a balance as well, isn't it? It's like not to get overwhelmed, because I don't know about you, I have so many conversations with people where they want to get started within their business and use social media to do that, and then they blow out and they're like, oh my God, I'm so tired of posting once, twice, 3 times a day. You have to really look at your diary and go, right, on this day, on this day, on this day, on this platform and this platform, I will post this and this.
Yes.
And manage it. I mean, for me, I do a lot of my scheduling and planning at the end of night. Actually, lay in bed at the end of night when everyone else, the world's asleep, and then I just copy and paste the following day. So, about balance. Right, moving on to a slightly different subject. What else is Tej involved in? Because I know that you're an entrepreneur as a whole. Anyway, you wrote your first book. You're on your second, like myself. What else are you involved in? How do you spin all these plates? What else are you doing? We know you for property. What else are you doing at the moment?
So, the books is definitely a big thing that I'm going to continue. I loved writing the first one. The second one's slightly different, so I didn't have to write as much for this one, but I had to chase a lot of people for the second one. It's a bit of a collaboration thing. I definitely want to continue writing books. They don't make that much money at all, but I love writing and I love how much it can help people. So and Amazon makes it so easy. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's worth it. Well, they do take a big chunk though, but that's why Jeff is a billionaire, I suppose, because they're stealing from me. So books is one thing. I have my e-learning, which is like property education, but it's not, smoke and mirrors. It's very much like, look, this is painful. It's going to take you a long time. Don't do this unless you're ready for this, because that's what it is. I'm doing a few site days now because I've got a refurb. So I suppose I'm kind of taking the free content to another level, paid content, while still doing the free stuff. I invest I've got like stocks and shares. A lot of it are just trackers, basically just to beat inflation. Although, to be fair to them, they're doing pretty bloody well, and I'm not touching them. I have money in crypto. Who knows? I don't look at it. Who knows what it's worth right now? I don't look at it. It's there just as if I lose it, if it makes money,
it's dead. It could be dead money.
It could be. It's high risk, high reward, but I don't get affected by the volatility.
Yeah.
I think I look at money a bit differently, and because I have a cash flowing portfolio, and because I look at my finances and say I could lose this, and it will be fine. Some things I want to get invested in or interested in are, I don't like watches. I don't wear them because I'll scratch them, I'll break them, but I will definitely invest in them and keep them in a safe. because I know there's a lot of value with them.
Good money.
Classic cars. Again, I'm not a huge fan of like a lot of classic cars, but things like, I don't know, Lamborghini Diablos or Countachs like that, those kind of things, I'm definitely interested in investing in, holding and trading.
Yeah.
Maybe driving if I can get the clutch down, those things. So I think for me, those are the things I'm looking to get into. I also have ideas for a restaurant business and a garage business, like for cars, which will probably come into play in maybe 2 or 3 years, depending on how much property breaks me in the meantime, until we get there. But yeah, at the moment, it's been trying to, and this is the reality of it, trying to remortgage some of my properties that I bought a year ago.
Yeah.
And you think, what? How is that efficient? How is that what I'm told? It's not what I was told. And so now is the time where it's cash flowing. I'm like, okay, let's look at diversifying. And that's where the kind of stocks and shares and the crypto and all this stuff and I've got some P2P lending out as well and things like that. So nothing too exciting yet, but I'm planning for where I want to take it.
Well, there's key points you just mentioned there is, if you are an entrepreneur and you're doing all kinds of different things, what did Tej just talk about there? You were talking about your main business. So that is something that, oh my God, we're having so many conversations where people get a pot of money, they've got the spark, they've got that fire in their belly where they want to do more, but really focus on what Tej is doing. He's niching down in his property, he's cash flowing, and then with your profits, you're then investing in other different, in other areas, and then becoming a diverse investor. So that's really important there for anyone watching, is that if you have a pot of money or you're starting a business, don't have the whole FOMO or get caught off track, and focus on what you're doing, start cash flowing, and then look to invest in other areas. So just to jump on and talk quickly about a minute about crypto. So it's everywhere at the moment, and something, my views are, slow down, watch, research.
So I shouldn't put my life savings into it.
Don't put your life savings into crypto.
Well, I'm a bit late for that, but
but it is an asset. It is an asset. So what are your views on what's happening right now? And as we speak about this on the 20th of May, there's been a huge crash. What's your views on it? Because I'm a long-term holder for 10 years plus. I understand it. I realise that it could be something very good in the future, but what are your views on crypto?
So I actually go to our good friend, our mutual friend D Ludlow, and I follow a lot of his stuff on about crypto. And so for me, my views are, look, it's ridiculously volatile. Its value is what we give it, but that goes with anything. I like that it's kind of not regulated and the corrupt governments don't get involved and power to the people and all that shit. My views on it are kind of long term, like you said. I'm not trading the kind of whipsaws up and down. I bought some crypto 5 years ago now. I put 400 quid in. Moron, right? Because I could have had I could have had so many Bitcoin, and I wouldn't even be sitting here now. I'd be on a yacht zooming you, right? I'd be on TikTok, but I didn't put enough in because of my risk appetite. Now, I've put a little bit more in, and I do view it as dead money in the sense that, hey, it could, and it was up 67% at one point, it could do that.
Yeah.
Or it could be minus 67, it could be minus nothing. But for me, that money is not for buying a house, it's not for my future kids, it's just hey, got money. Because there could be something here.
Yeah.
I think some of them have fundamentals, some of them, of course, can be used as currencies, can be used, like Ripple, if they pass their lawsuit, can be used as something to assist the banking system. I think it has legs, and I think the way we're heading in the future, banks are just such dinosaurs. I'm with that movement. So I suppose I kind of believe in the ethos of it more than I believe in necessarily the chart, although I do technical analysis. So yeah, it's just there. Are people making lots of money? Yes. Do I know people who've made and have withdrawn insane amounts of money from it? Absolutely. But what you said, do your research. There's lots of good resources out there that are cheap enough, and be sensible. Don't put your kid's trust fund in there. Don't put your be sensible with it, and be prepared to wake up one morning and it be a lot less than it was the day before.
Be a smart investor. Be a savvy investor. That's all it takes. And actually, what I'll do is I'll include somewhere up here in the video a link to a video of mine, which will talk everything about money management, from what you should go through, the process, whether you've got £20 in your bank, whatever it might be, or whatever your income is, all the money managing process, something I'm really hot on.
I'm going to watch that video actually.
Go check it out. But Tej, it's been an absolute pleasure to interview you. We found out a little bit more Tej, what he's dipping his toes into and whatnot. So awesome. And if you haven't already, Tej, what's the book that you already have?
It's called The Tej Talks Guide to Property Investing. The new book is untitled as of yet, but by the time you see these videos, it will be on Amazon.
Awesome. Go check out Tej on Instagram and his books on Amazon. So until the next video, Tej, amazing, and I'll speak with all of you very soon.